Tom, we will ask you some basketball questions, but I do want to start with the pressing matter that is Jalen Catalon. And I think it was you that asked the question about injuries update. I got to kind of rehash my memory a little bit. He talked about Dre Knox being banged up a little bit, stealing some other guys. Have you heard anything concrete about the status of Arkansas star safety Jalen Catalon?
No, nothing concrete, but it's worrisome, and he just hasn't been himself the last few games. You can just tell. And, of course, Sam revealed he's got a broken hand. So sometimes guys wrap it up and play with it. And sometimes, something else happens. So we'll just have to see on him. I've got to tell y'all, though, I got to tell y'all this. If you enjoy hearing good coach commentary that's not just coach speak, and by the way, Sam Pittman is not a coach speak guy. He's a fun interview. He tells you stuff. But 15 minutes of Lane Kiffin yesterday on the SEC media teleconference was phenomenal. He talked about holding the press conference when he left Tennessee, why he did that, said Jimmy Sexton advised him against it, but he felt like he had to do it. He talked about how these hurry-up offenses like his and Kendall Browse's, everybody thinks they're these big passing offenses, but the run game, being a tough run team, comes from Art Briles. And so it's 15 minutes. If you can find it, it's enjoyable coach listening as opposed to the normal coach speak.
Tom, since you're talking about Lane Kiffin, we'll stay there for a sec. They've got a big-time game going to Knoxville, as you just brought up this weekend. Tennessee's gotten some running under Josh Heupel going a little bit, albeit against Missouri and South Carolina, and they face a much tougher task defensively against Ole Miss this weekend. But with him coming back to Knoxville, I know it's a checker out orange and white this weekend. What kind of atmosphere do you anticipate him walking into, and just kind of what kind of game do you think Tennessee can offer Ole Miss this Saturday night?
Yeah, Tennessee is kind of the Eastern Division equivalent of Arkansas, where the fans are getting jacked up. You're winning some big games. Tennessee has the luxury, I guess you could say, of getting to play Vanderbilt and Missouri and South Carolina, and there's just no such outs on the Western side. It's every week you got to show up. But I think it's going to be groovy. I think there's a reason for the great interest and the excitement over what Josh Heupel's bringing. I mean, Hendon Hooker leads the SEC in pass efficiency, and they're a tough offense. Very difficult to slow them down. And Florida beat them early in the year, but they rebounded. And that's another thing about what I was saying about Kiffin. He didn't just say, it's just another game, or, I left there years ago. I've been back since with Alabama. There's nothing to this. He talked about it. He talked about why he left. And I don't know. I just thought it was so forthright, and you don't hear that quite often from coaches.
Auburn's won 5 straight in this series, and Tom, the last 8 games, they've scored at least 30 points or more 8 straight times on the Razorbacks. What defensive adjustments and changes do you think we might see Saturday to slow down Auburn a little bit, who over recent years has had their way offensively with the Razorbacks?
Yeah, they really have, and you could say 5 in a row and put a little asterisk on there because, it's not in the books that way, but doggone. It looked like they had that game won. There was a moment, y'all remember in the game last year, when there was this long pause to determine whose ball it was and what happened on the backward spike. And the Arkansas sideline at one point just erupted, like somebody saw something or said something that made them think they were about to get the ball. And I had this moment of like, holy smokes, they're about to award Arkansas the ball. Of course, it didn't happen. But they're probably going to have to play some 4-man front. They're going to have to mix things up. If Catalon is not available, then that means Miles Flusher's got to rise to the occasion. But they have to be forceful tacklers. When you think about those first 4 games, those linebackers were getting in the backfield. Defensive line was, holding its gaps, and they were hitting ball carriers. They were hitting Bijan Robinson. The last couple of games, the Ole Miss runners have been going downhill on them. The Georgia runners have gotten several yards, right through the hole. And then the offensive linemen turn around and push them for 4 or 5 extra yards, as Grant Morgan pointed out. So they got to be better tacklers and just aggressive and swarming. And they've just been lacking that a little bit the last couple games.
Yeah, you look at Auburn in their running game. I mean, you were talking earlier about people, kind of misguided on their perceptions of offenses. And, Auburn likes to run the ball. Nix is a pretty good runner. I look at that offensive line. They got 4 seniors on their 2 deep that's listed as starters. So that's going to be a challenge this week. You mentioned the 4-man front potentially for the Razorbacks. Even with that, Tom, it looks to me like a challenge going up against a senior-laden Auburn offensive line.
It's a big-time challenge. They had trouble with Tank Bigsby in the rain last year. Just could not, like, one guy wasn't getting him down, and he was breaking tackles, and now they've got extra weapons, and Childers is tough, and Auburn presents a lot of problems. That they grinded out that win at LSU a few weeks ago. Very impressive win. They were in the game at Penn State, up till the end. So this is a very tough out for the Razorbacks. I think Sam Pittman is saying, hey, home crowd, help us. You can be worth a few points. We're going to go out there and play better than we have been, but we need you guys too. And, they've got to get multiple guys to Bigsby because you just want Auburn to have to kind of guess, are we going to get the 4-man and we're going to get 3-man? What are our blocking schemes? If they can trip them up a little bit on where Arkansas is coming from, that would be a good help to trying to win the game.
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush. Tom, Auburn's counterpart, Alabama, they lost a tough one in College Station this past Saturday night. And I think some people are just under the anticipation, like Paul Feinbaum, that their college football playoff chances and national championship chances are done. Can Alabama run the table, win out, and then beat Georgia in the SEC championship based on what you've seen with them thus far?
Well, I think they can certainly run the table. Some things happened to them. The 18 kickoff return for a touchdown, and some other things happened in that game. They had a pick down on the 1-yard line. It was really just a confluence of events that led to a very narrow margin of victory for A&M. You got to give them credit for putting forth the effort, having a game plan to do it, but you never count Nick Saban teams out. I don't think we're going to see some subpar performances and guys bailing out on the team, anything like that. But Georgia's a different nut this year. I mean, they're going to be that would be an epic game if Alabama were to face Georgia. And of course, if that were to happen, I think Alabama will be, in a stronger position by then. Like figuring out more things they can do with their offensive weapons, and Bryce Young will have more snaps under his belt and things like that. But it is nice to see them go down and the top of the West seeming attainable. And had Arkansas converted its 2-point play at the end of the game, they would be tied with Alabama with their own destiny in their hands to win out and win the division.
You bring up Arkansas for a sec, Tom. We were having some fun with this conversation yesterday, talking about what could Arkansas's projected record be the rest of the way. 6 remaining games, 5 conference, 1 non-conference. Tom, if you had to ballpark it right now, 6 games out, what do you think Arkansas ends up with in their final 6 games?
Yeah, if they could beat Auburn, it's such a swing game. And of course, when the Mississippi State game comes, we'll say the same thing. I think if they can finish 4-2, that's a really nice 8-4 is a good season, better than anybody projected. And then if they can beat Auburn and then upset LSU on the road, who knows what the Tigers will be like when they play down there. Then upside 5-1. I mean, they are legitimately that good. It's just who shows up on a given game day. And Sam Pittman would be on here telling you that why should they discount any chance to go win in Alabama? That's their mindset this year, and you got to give them credit. They're a very senior-laden team, and that has played strongly in their favor. But this coaching staff is kind of getting a maximum out of these guys. I mean, defensive backfield last week and D-line, I don't think they played very well, but I think you're going to see a reversal this week.
If you could do what you just kind of laid out there and steal one on the road at LSU, take care of your business at home, and get to 9 wins for the year, that would be an accomplishment Arkansas has not achieved as a program since 2011. Give us your perspective on what the difference is between, say, 8 wins and 9, and why just getting that one extra win, what it would note about this program to do something that hasn't been done in a decade.
Yeah, it would be like the punctuation mark on a recovery under Sam Pittman that, I don't know if anyone could have envisioned it. 3 wins last year was impressive, but could have been 5. They could be 5-1 right now. They are in these games, and they believe they can win the tight games, the one-score games. And I think it would put them in position for a New Year's Six bowl. I haven't broken it down, but the SEC could send 2 to the playoff. They could send 1, and it goes down from there. But I don't think a Peach Bowl or a Citrus Bowl appearance is out of the reach for these guys. They believe in what they're doing, and there's a lot of power.
Yeah, I brought this up earlier in the week. I don't think I was talking with you when I did, but you're really playing for a spot in that first college football ranking this weekend because you play UAPB next week, which isn't going to help, can only hurt you. Then you have the bye week, and then it comes out that following Tuesday, November 2nd, so is their first initial release. So really how you perform this Saturday is the biggest hurdle and really the only hurdle you have left to clear ahead of the committee's first opinion.
That is true, and you will be in the rankings if you beat Auburn. If
right.
You don't, you might fall out. They're on the number 17. People have given them a lot of credit for the wins they've had. If you beat Auburn, then you're probably solid top 15 at that point, and I would say it would be reflected in the college football playoff standings, which would be a one. They've already been up to number 8 in the country this year. No one could have seen that coming, and for them to be in the first college football playoff rankings of the season would be, just another milestone achievement under the Sam Pittman regime.
In a booster shot for recruiting.
Yeah, which is going well. And, the 11 o'clock kickoffs aren't great for it, but, their upcoming class is almost set. And, they're almost to the point where they wouldn't turn any great prospects down, but they're going to save up a few spots to look to portal guys and see if they can bulk up a spot or 2.
Tom, we appreciate your insight, man. We'll recap Auburn on Monday, okay?
Sounds great. Y'all have a great
We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for another football season. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. With the new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to your website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of these amazing offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.